Welcome back to Golf Today. The LPGA returns to action this week with the Kia Classic in Carlsbad, California. The tour then moves to Rancho Mirage for the first major of the year, the A&A Inspiration. So an exciting and important stretch of golf for the women coming up. And honing in on this week's notables in the field at the Kia, we have got world's number 1, 2 and 3 in action with Jin Young Ko, Se Young Kim and Nelly Korda. Also in the field is 5-time LPGA Tour winner Michelle Wie West, who is making her competitive return for the first time in nearly 2 years. Now, I don't know about you, but I am pretty excited about this, as are some of the biggest men in the game. Justin Thomas tweeted this, saying, "So pumped for Michelle Wie West to be back in action this week. The golf world missed her. Go get 'em, Wheezy." I completely agree, JT. Well, let's bring the team back in, starting with Paige McKenzie. Paige, a big week for Michelle Wie West. We haven't seen her compete since June of 2019. She's obviously coming back from motherhood, from wrist injury. What do you think is the driving force behind this return?
Well, I think she's mentioned it in some of her Instagram posts as she's been preparing. Is she's more motivated than ever. She's excited to be able to show her daughter what it is that she does for a living. And I reached out to her yesterday, actually, to get her a sense how she is feeling. And she said that she was nervous and excited, but I think she also said she's excited for the nerves because it's been a long time. You mentioned it. We haven't seen her since 2019 KPMG Women's PGA, where she had withdrawn shortly thereafter from the LPGA Tour season because of the wrist injury. And when she talked about it on that Thursday of KPMG Women's PGA, she said, "I'm not entirely sure how much more I have left in me." The tone is completely different right now. She seems, again, so excited to be back, to be preparing to get started on this LPGA Tour season. She's going to be out there this week with her daughter, McKenna, as well as her parents, as well as her 2 dogs. It's a family traveling circus, she said this week. But again, the tone feels very different than it did nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah, Jaime, it feels like there are some really good vibes coming from Michelle Wie West at the moment. In your opinion, what would be a good week for her out there on the LPGA?
Well, I think certainly to play with good health and not have any reoccurrence of any of the injuries, and feel good that she's doing something that is really fulfilling her in a way that she doesn't have to play, but she's playing because she wants to play. I think this was probably a healing period, this whole transition from, certainly having a child, but also just recovering from injury. And, she's played very well at the A&A, almost won at 4. She's been 4th, she's been 3rd, she's been 2nd. From an early time in the career, but as late as 216. So, excuse me, 214. But she's definitely someone with formidable game as long as she's healthy. I mean, still got the beautiful swing. The only problems has always been that she used to experiment a lot with her golf swing. David Ledbetter used to always bemoan that and say, Michelle, stay with what you got because you have so much. And of course, the putter. But these are all mechanical things. I think that she's in a good state of mind. We're just going to see a very sort of enjoyable return to the game and be part of this whole LPGA movement right now, where you're seeing really prominent Americans start to rise, and Michelle will be among the most prominent and the most well-known. And I think, it bodes well as long as she's physically okay.
Jaime, doesn't it kind of speak to Michelle Wie's enduring status in this game that we're talking about, the number 534 ranked golfer in the world, and the excitement everyone feels about seeing her get back in action? And there is precedent here for players leaving the tour to have a child and then returning and actually playing at a high level. Julie Inkster had her first child at the age of 30. As did Michelle Wie, and 18 of Julie Inkster's 31 LPGA Tour wins came after the birth of her first child. 16 of them, including 4 majors, came after the birth of her second child. So it can be done. I guess what it comes down to with Michelle Wie is she has a lot of other interests, including broadcast work that she started to do. And the question is going to be, how much physically can she do, and how much mentally or emotionally does she want it? Is she going to be willing to put in the hours that's necessary to play at the highest level again, or is she just here because this is what she wants to show her daughter that she can do?
Yeah, and I think there becomes a lot of clarity after you have children. The priorities become very clear to you. And I think for Michelle Wie, at least according to her Instagram, it appears that this is a priority for her. And the final words that she said to me is that she's just grateful to be out playing again and to be playing with her here. So I'm anxious to see how she does. It's been really interesting to watch some of these other mothers return to competitive form. Jane Park, most recently on the LPGA Tour, came back from her maternity leave in the last couple of weeks and seemed to slide right back in to where she left. It'll be interesting to see if Michelle Wie can do the same.
Absolutely. The women's game is always a better place when Michelle Wie West is in action, so we're looking forward to seeing her teeing it up this week at the Kia Classic.